My name is Dr. Samantha Brooks, and as a chiropractor, it's my privilege to work with busy parents and professionals to help them be more productive, more present, and experiencing their highest levels of health. I'm going to share information with you today that's going to allow you to take control of your family's health, whether you're active and fit or fatigued and sick. A little about me. Growing up, my mother always worked for doctors. So we were always at the doctor's office. When we were well, we were getting vaccinations, and when we were sick, we were getting antibiotics. And at the age of 14, I started working for doctors as well. For more than a decade, I worked in orthopedics and pediatrics. So you could say that I had more access to healthcare than most. And you might think I was healthier because of it, but in fact, the opposite was true. You see, by the age of 20, I had been diagnosed with 11 different chronic and incurable illnesses. Drugs, surgeries, medical intervention could hope to manage or suppress my symptoms, but the only hope the doctors could give me was still a lifetime of medication, never a cure. Chronic illness provides a grim outlook for anyone, much less a 20-something. But things started to change. A few years later, I decided to have a baby, and I was going to do it naturally, and I did. And it was then that I finally started to realize this connection between human life and a universal intelligence. The same intelligence that takes a seed and grows a tree. One egg and one sperm creates a living, breathing child. And that same power that makes the human body can heal a paper cut in just a few days, and without the direction from any medication or doctor, just the body's own innate intelligence at work. But that left me to question, if the body could heal itself, why was I so laden with illness? My answer came in unexpected ways. Several months and 50 pounds into my pregnancy, I developed severe low back pain and sharp shooting pains down my legs. Has anyone here ever dealt with debilitating pain? Just a show of hands. Well, you guys can understand better than most how relieved I was when, within just a few adjustments at my chiropractor's office, I was back on my feet again and feeling, well, normal. Interestingly, as I continued my chiropractic care in her office, I started to see some of these symptoms I had dealt with since childhood: anxiety, depression, insomnia, irritable bowel syndrome, simply disappear. And I asked my chiropractor about it, and that's when she educated me about the chiropractic philosophy that indeed your body does have an innate intelligence, and it is able to heal itself as long as there's no interference. Under chiropractic care, my health really started to blossom. So you might be asking, I've had new patients ask me this before, and you might be wondering, Dr. Sam, I get how chiropractic care helps your low back pain. Just not so sure I understand how it helps you sleeping and pooping. And that's a fair question. And I'm going to explain to you the mechanism by which chiropractic works with your body's innate intelligence so that you can understand how essential chiropractic care is for everyone, from newborn to 92, whether sick or well. But we like to have a lot of fun in our office because I see adults and a lot of children. So for the rest of this chat, I require audience participation. Can you all agree to participate? Excellent. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a question, and I just want you to shout out whatever answer first comes to mind. And yes, that's a hint. What is the most important organ in your body? Great, excellent, good job. And it's so important because it's part of the master control system, the nervous system. The nervous system is comprised of the brain, which is connected to the spinal cord. And that spinal cord is protected by 24 movable bones called vertebrae. And in this vertebral column, there are special holes. And from the spinal cord, there are nerves that come through those holes out into every cell, tissue, and organ in your body. And they're constantly sending messages back and forth from the brain to the body and the body to the brain faster than you can imagine. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, it's really cool. But there can be interferences or disconnect within that communication system, and we call those subluxation. And in order to better show you what subluxation is, I need everyone on your feet and find a partner. We're going to play one of my favorite games as a child called Slaps. If you already know how to play, go ahead and begin. If you need instructions, you can look up here. Hands on top, hands on bottom. Oh, you guys know it. You're doing great. I'm going to give you just a couple more seconds to play. Okay, now freeze. Everybody stop, and in your silence, have a seat. In your silence, I want you to just notice. Was anyone excited, maybe even anxious or nervous? Did anybody get sweaty palms, shaky hands? How many of you had just a little bit quicker heartbeat? What you're experiencing is called the sympathetic response, and in varying degrees, this is what happens when our body encounters stress. And the sympathetic response, for example, if you were to go camping and you encounter the stressor of meeting a bear in the woods, it's going to cause you to get in a defensive posture. And if you're from Montana, you're probably going to fight the bear. But if you're me, you're going to do flight, which is run away as fast as you can. And in this situation, sympathetic response could save your life. But what we see is that there's actually an overproduction of that sympathetic response in our lives because of our hectic lifestyle. And it's causing defensive postures. And it's twisting and torquing the spinal cord. It can even misalign vertebrae. Now, if I told you there was a way to train your spine and nervous system to more efficiently and effectively handle those stressors, would you be interested to know how? Good. What we found is that most subluxation occurs at or near the spinal cord, and chiropractors are doctors that are specially trained to locate, analyze, and correct vertebral subluxation with the chiropractic adjustment. And what's more, when you continue your chiropractic care, we actually seek to advance the spine and nervous system, creating reorganization in that system, helping you develop new strategies, leaving you experiencing higher levels of health than you ever thought possible. Doesn't that sound like something you need? Something your children deserve? Well, as we spoke today, there was someone that you thought of. Maybe it was a child with chronic ear infections, asthma, allergies. Perhaps you have a friend, neighbor, or coworker who was recently diagnosed with cancer, heart disease, or diabetes. Maybe it's you. And you're thinking, can chiropractic help? My answer is a resounding yes. And while I don't claim that chiropractic cures any disease, what I can tell you is this. If you have a subluxation in your nervous system, you will never be able to reach those optimal levels of health without chiropractic in your life. So please, it's so important to go get checked for subluxation. Get your children checked for subluxation. And let's do that this week in my office. Thank you.